Now, there are many hurdles to overcome before you can implement that overall plan. Now, one of those is winning an election, and then you've got to get rid of the federal ban get it through a Senate. That's never easy. But I want to focus on state governments too. You might be able to play ball with Peter Malinauskas, the Labor Premier in South Australia. There's no legislative ban there, and he's happy to deal with it if the numbers stack up. But what about your own state of Queensland, where the LNP say they would oppose nuclear power? Now, we can understand David Crisafulli doesn't want a distraction during his state election campaign on nuclear. Surely you would expect that if he becomes Premier, the LNP are in government in Queensland, he would overturn that view.
Well, you'd hope so. Australians want leadership. They want their politicians to stand for something. Peter Dutton and I are going to stand for something. And if we're given that mandate and that honour by the Australian people, then we would expect whoever is Premier of whatever state that they would acknowledge that mandate in knowing that we have to make the decisions for the greater good of this nation. We have an integrated energy system on the East Coast in particular and with South Australia. And it's important that we make those decisions for the greater good, and that they help us in a constructive way. That's what people want out of their politicians. They want them to stand for something, and when the Australian people have made that determination, they expect us at all levels to work together constructively to get on with the job. And that's what we intend to do. We don't want to have to bully our way into this, Peter Dutton and I. We believe in this. We believe in this passionately. And that's why we've taken this first step today. And we would expect state premiers respect that mandate if we're given the honour to have one after the next federal election, and we get on and move, because the time to do it is critical and the time to do it is now.
Now, you've made some big calls. You say you'd scrap that Illawarra offshore wind project if you won government. There'll be people up at Port Stephens off the Newcastle, the Hunter area wanting a similar promise for that offshore wind project. We'll see where all that ends up. But if you were to win government and implement this plan,
we've already...
You would scrap that one as well, right? But
we've already given Port Stephens. Yeah, right. We've made that commitment. That's technology that's actually floating 260 metre wind towers that has never been done to that scale in the world before. So
no, I understand. All right, they get the same promise. So just let me take it this step further. Under your plan, there'd be nuclear. Renewables wouldn't disappear. There'd still be a big input of renewable energy, and there would be gas peaking to peak up when demand requires it. My question is, how much more of this large-scale renewable rollout would you tolerate? Is it to be capped around about what we got now, or would there still be a large investment in large-scale renewable?
Well, this makes a significant dent in any further significant increase, particularly what the government is under an all-renewables approach. We're going to release our overall mix. I think there is a place for renewables, but what has been done with renewables at the moment, it's been done near existing transmission lines. The low-hanging fruit's been done. And now the burden is being borne on regional Australians to go beyond that. And if we do want to look at this, I think there's an opportunity for us to explore partnering with what the states give at the moment, helping with some household battery or some business battery in populated areas, in urban areas, to give them some energy independence. But we need to make sure that we get the mix right, and there will be a clear delineation between an all-renewables approach to one that has a transition, an orderly transition of some of our coal-fired power stations to nuclear with gas and CCS in the right place, and a mix of renewables. But we want to get that mix right that's the most affordable, and make sure that we underpin manufacturing in this country, because you can't keep subsidising manufacturing in this country to keep it open, because ultimately Australian taxpayers' money runs out.
Thanks for joining us, David. I appreciate it. David Littleproud there on a big day for the Coalition with this massive debate now on for young and old.